And in the UK, the positive start to the week for the FTSE 100 was very short-lived as the index reversed to the negative territory by 0.03%. But let's bring in Juliana Olayinka, my colleague in London, to tell us more. Good afternoon, Juliana. I see you're working from home now.
I'm working from home today. I'll probably be in the studio again today.
Okay, so we'll see you back in the studio tomorrow. But let's begin our conversation now with the 67,000 claims made by employers 30 minutes after the government's pay scheme to keep staff on the payroll went live. What updates do you have for us at this time?
Well, at the moment, the last time I checked, I think about 1 million employers had gone onto this HMRC website to access these funds for their staff. This goes back now about 5 weeks when the Chancellor of the Exchequer, Rishi Sunak, announced £350 billion worth of government packages to try and keep the economy afloat. And more importantly, try to keep people in jobs. The government retention scheme, or the furlough scheme as it's known, will see the government backing up to 80% of your wages to the tune of £2,500. It's expected to cost the government over the next 3 months £40 billion, which is a huge amount, and over 1 million employers are expected to sign up to it. For some people, this is welcoming news. Of course, if you are not working and you've not lost your job but are being asked to work from home and your employer is not receiving any income, this will be a welcome relief, because at the end of this month you'll be able to pay your rent and you'll be able to get shopping. Others don't see it that way. There are so many issues that have come out of this retention scheme, which is why the government have had to add additional measures to help people, whether it's people who are self-employed, people who are freelancing. Just this morning I spoke with Chimeze about people that work in the innovative sector. But thus far it looks like it's going pretty well. You will be receiving your income within the next 6 days. And because of pressure from the Confederation of British Industry last week, the Chancellor has decided to extend the scheme for another month, taking this through to the end of June.
UK household finances are at its weakest since 2011 as the IHS Markets UK Household Finance Index plummeted to 34.9 in April. How badly is the COVID-19 pandemic hitting British households?
Pretty bad, and it's no surprise. I think you only need to have a look at what's happening in terms of how many thousands of people have died, and that it's pretty bleak here in Britain at the moment. This index surveys people in working households, and 1 in 3 of the individuals that they surveyed said that they are struggling economically. They're not feeling satisfied at the moment. Many millions of people have lost their jobs. And of course, even though the government have decreed to help citizens, until they actually receive that money in their account or in their back pocket, they still feel a sense of anxiety and worry. As soon as these details were released, it did affect the FTSE 100, because there are fears. And I think, especially with the markets and the government, I don't think the main fear is what's happening today. It's what will happen once the economy starts to kick again. When these lockdown restrictions, when these lockdown measures are removed, of course, the economy needs to thrive. People need to feel comfortable to start going out and shopping and purchasing and eating in restaurants and wining and dining. But if they have several bills to pay, then they're not going to be able to do this. So this information from the IHS market is really worrying.
Well, let's talk about the numbers now. We saw the FTSE 100 reverse the positive sentiment seen earlier today. How are the markets trading at this time?
Well, as you said, there was a positive start, even though it was a little bit muted. The FTSE 100 did start on the up at intraday. The FTSE 100 and the FTSE 250 and the all-share, they're all hovering down around that 0.75 mark. In currencies, the pound is down on the dollar by 0.33%, down on the euro by 0.23%, and down on the Japanese yen by 0.14%. It's worth saying that considering we are seeing in Europe that some of these lockdown measures are being restricted, that there has been a rally in some of the budget airlines, EasyJet, they're one of the fast risers on the FTSE at the moment. Their shares are up 2.25%, but leading the fall on the FTSE all share today are house builders. There was a survey conducted, and it does show that the sales of about 500,000 homes could be prevented because of the COVID-19 pandemic, Bissy.
Thank you, Juliana. We look forward to seeing you again tomorrow, and please remember to stay safe.